There's a strange kind of exhaustion nobody talks about anymore. Not physical exhaustion. Not the kind sleep can fix. I'm talking about the exhaustion of constantly performing. Pretending you're okay. Pretending you're confident. Pretending you don't feel replaced, ignored, manipulated, or quietly left behind by a world that only values people when they're useful. And maybe the most dangerous part? Most people never realize they're being psychologically controlled, because the prison doesn't look like a prison anymore. It looks like social media. It looks like endless comparison. It looks like smiling coworkers who secretly celebrate your failures. It looks like a society that rewards noise over wisdom, reaction over reflection, addiction over discipline. The ancient Stoics saw this pattern thousands of years ago. But today, it has evolved into something darker. In this video, you'll discover 5 Stoic rules that can make you mentally unbreakable in a world designed to keep you emotionally weak. Not motivational cliches. Not fake alpha male nonsense. Real psychological discipline used by emperors, warriors, and people who survived chaos without losing themselves. And stay until the end, because the final rule is the one modern society fears the most. Once you truly understand it, you stop becoming emotionally controllable. That changes everything. Welcome to StoicCraft. The modern world profits from your instability. A strange thing happens when a person becomes calm. They stop buying things they do not need. They stop begging for approval. They stop reacting emotionally to every insult, trend, or manufactured outrage. And that kind of person becomes very difficult to manipulate. That is why modern society quietly trains people to remain mentally unstable. Look around. People wake up and immediately surrender their minds to notifications. They measure their worth through likes from strangers they would never trust in real life. They consume endless bad news before even speaking to their own family. They work jobs they hate just to afford distractions that numb the emptiness created by the jobs they hate. And the frightening part is, this cycle becomes normal. The Stoics warned about this long before smartphones existed. Marcus Aurelius once wrote that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Imagine what happens when someone spends 10 years feeding their mind fear, comparison, outrage, jealousy, and noise every single day. Eventually, they stop thinking clearly. Eventually, they stop knowing who they are. This is why Stoicism is no longer just philosophy. For many people today, it is survival. Not survival from war, but survival from emotional exhaustion, psychological manipulation, modern loneliness, and the quiet pressure to become someone fake just to fit into a system that rewards performance more than truth. Today, we're going to break down 5 Stoic rules that can help you reclaim control over your mind before the world completely programs it for you. And the deeper we go, the more uncomfortable the truth becomes. Because sometimes the greatest prison is not around you. It is inside the habits you repeat every day. Rule 1: Own your mind before the world does. Most people lose the battle before their day even begins. They wake up and immediately absorb the emotions of the world. News, notifications, arguments, emails, social media, stress. Before their own mind has even fully awakened, somebody else already controls their emotional state. Think about how dangerous that really is. Imagine handing strangers the remote control to your nervous system every morning. That is essentially what millions of people do every day without realizing it. The Stoics understood something modern people forget. If you do not consciously direct your mind, the world will direct it for you. Marcus Aurelius practiced preparing himself mentally before facing the chaos of the day. Not because he was pessimistic, but because he understood human nature. He expected selfish people, dishonest people, manipulative people, people driven by ego, insecurity, and hidden resentment. And honestly, isn't that still true today? You see it in offices where coworkers smile at you while secretly competing against you. You see it online where people attack strangers to feel important for 5 seconds. You see it in relationships where people pretend to love you but only love the validation you provide. A Stoic stops being shocked by human behavior. And strangely, that creates peace. Because disappointment often comes from unrealistic expectations. One of the most powerful habits you can build is silence before stimulation. Before touching your phone in the morning, sit quietly. Breathe. Think. Prepare your mind intentionally. Ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be today? What situations might test my patience? What emotions must I control instead of obey? This sounds simple. But in a reactive society, intentional awareness becomes a form of rebellion. Most people begin the day unconsciously reacting. Stoics begin the day consciously choosing. That difference changes entire lives. Rule 2: stay calm when the world wants a reaction. Modern society rewards emotional instability. The angrier people become, the more attention they receive. The more reactive they become, the more visible they become. Outrage has become entertainment. Calmness has become rare. And rare things become powerful. One of the greatest lies people believe is that emotional reactions are proof of strength. They are not. Most emotional reactions are loss of control disguised as authenticity. The Stoics believe true strength appears during pressure, not comfort. Anyone can appear disciplined when life is easy. Anyone can appear kind when everything goes their way. But adversity reveals character. There is a reason storms expose weak foundations. And life does the same thing to people. A failed relationship, financial pressure, public embarrassment, betrayal, a season where nothing seems to work. These moments reveal whether someone controls their emotions, or whether their emotions control them. I think many people secretly destroy themselves because they never learned how to pause. They react immediately. They text immediately. They argue immediately. They panic immediately. And then later, they regret the version of themselves that appeared in those emotional moments. Stoicism teaches something uncomfortable. Your first emotional impulse is not always your wisest self. Sometimes anger is wounded pride. Sometimes panic is imagined catastrophe. Sometimes jealousy is insecurity wearing a disguise. A disciplined mind learns observation before reaction. When insulted, pause. When disappointed, breathe. When frustrated, remain still long enough to think clearly. This is not weakness. This is emotional mastery. The calm person in chaos becomes psychologically intimidating because calmness signals internal control. And people who rely on manipulation often become uncomfortable around emotionally disciplined individuals. Because manipulation requires reaction. And Stoicism quietly removes that reaction. Rule 3: gratitude destroys modern misery. One of the darkest psychological traps in modern life is this. People are constantly taught to focus on what they lack. You need more money, more success, more status, more beauty, more followers, more recognition. Modern society survives by keeping people dissatisfied. Because satisfied people are harder to control. A man who feels complete buys less validation. A woman who values peace compares herself less. A person who appreciates life deeply becomes less addicted to constant stimulation. That is why gratitude is not soft. It is psychological resistance. The Stoics constantly reflected on impermanence. Not to become depressed, but to become awake. Because when you remember life is temporary, ordinary moments stop feeling ordinary. A conversation with your parents becomes valuable. A quiet dinner becomes meaningful. Good health becomes sacred. A peaceful morning becomes something money cannot buy. Most people realize the value of these things only after losing them. And that is one of the great tragedies of human life. Marcus Aurelius reflected often on death because mortality strips away illusion. It exposes what actually matters. Suddenly, ego battles feel childish. Internet arguments feel meaningless. Comparison feels exhausting. You begin to see how much energy modern people waste trying to impress strangers who are equally lost themselves. Sometimes I think modern loneliness comes from people abandoning reality for performance. Everybody is trying to appear successful. Few people are trying to become peaceful. And there is a difference. Stoicism reminds us to return to the present moment before life disappears while we are busy chasing approval from people who were never truly watching anyway. Rule 4. Discipline is the highest form of self-respect. People often think discipline is punishment. The Stoics saw it differently. Discipline is self-respect in action. Every time you break promises to yourself, your mind remembers. Every delayed goal. Every excuse. Every moment you abandoned your standards for temporary comfort. Eventually, self-trust begins to disappear. And once a person no longer trusts themselves, anxiety quietly grows. Because deep down, they know their emotions control them more than their principles do. Modern culture worships motivation. Stoicism worships consistency. Because motivation is emotional. Discipline is identity. Anybody can feel inspired for one day. But waking up consistently, training consistently, working consistently, remaining honest consistently, that is where transformation happens. Not in dramatic moments, but in invisible repetitions nobody applauds. A mountain is formed through pressure over time. Character works the same way. The frightening truth is that many people today are not physically imprisoned. They are imprisoned by impulses. Dopamine addiction, distraction, comfort, laziness, escapism. And the more a person loses control over small habits, the more they lose control over larger parts of life. The Stoics believed freedom begins with self-mastery. Not external freedom. Internal freedom. The ability to say no to destructive impulses. The ability to remain focused when distractions multiply. The ability to endure discomfort without collapsing emotionally. That kind of discipline creates a dangerous level of confidence. Because disciplined people stop needing constant reassurance. Their actions become proof. Rule 5. Detach your worth from applause. This may be the most important rule of all. And perhaps the one modern society fears the most. Most people are not living authentically. They are performing versions of themselves designed for approval. Think about how exhausting that becomes over time. Carefully editing personalities. Hiding opinions. Pretending confidence. Seeking validation from people they secretly dislike. And the tragedy is this: the more approval someone needs, the easier they become to manipulate. A person terrified of rejection will betray themselves to fit in. A person addicted to praise will sacrifice peace for attention. Stoicism destroys this prison. The Stoics believed your value comes from character, not applause. Integrity, wisdom, self-control, courage, justice, not popularity. A lion does not lose sleep over the opinion of sheep. And yet modern society trains people to obsess over every opinion constantly. One negative comment ruins their day. One rejection destroys their confidence. One moment of criticism makes them question their worth. But emotionally free people understand something powerful. Criticism often reveals more about the speaker than the target. Not everybody deserves access to your emotions. And once you stop needing universal approval, something incredible happens. You become internally stable. You stop shape-shifting to survive socially. You stop explaining yourself endlessly. You stop performing happiness while quietly suffering inside. You simply become real. And in a fake world, real people become unforgettable. The 5 rules that change everything. So let's bring everything together. The first rule was to own your mind before the world does. Because if you begin every day unconsciously reacting, society will program your emotions for you. The second rule was to remain calm under pressure. Because emotional control creates clarity while emotional reactions often create regret. The third rule was gratitude. Not as positivity theater, but as resistance against a culture built on dissatisfaction and endless comparison. The fourth rule was discipline. Because self-mastery creates confidence stronger than temporary motivation ever could. And the fifth rule was detaching your worth from approval. Because the moment your identity depends on applause, your peace belongs to other people. These 5 rules sound simple. But practiced daily, they quietly transform the entire structure of a human being. The truth is, becoming mentally unbreakable is not about becoming emotionless. It is about becoming harder to manipulate. Harder to provoke. Harder to control. Harder to psychologically destroy. And in today's world, that may be one of the most valuable forms of freedom left. So now I want to ask you something. Which of these 5 rules do you struggle with the most right now? Is it emotional control? Discipline? Validation? Overthinking? The inability to disconnect from noise? Share it in the comments. Not because you're weak, but because honesty is where real transformation begins. And if this video spoke to something you've been feeling silently for a long time, make sure to subscribe to StoicCraft for more deep psychological and stoic content designed for people trying to stay strong in a world that profits from weakness. Until next time, protect your mind. Because once the world controls that, it controls everything.